Hey everybody, welcome to the third and final day of Adobe Max. I'm here with my new friend Marissa Joyner. We're going to be working on some custom GIFs or GIFs in Premiere Pro. But first, before we jump in and allow Marissa to do her magic, I want to let you all know that you can work alongside Marissa for this challenge. If you post your final work with the hashtag Max Creative Challenge on Twitter or Instagram, you could be featured on Adobe social channels as well as maybe win a free year of Creative Cloud, which is awesome. So chat, if you're in here, give us a shout out. We want to say hello to you. And Marissa, maybe you can introduce yourself to the folks that haven't had the pleasure to meet you yet.
Hello, everyone. My name is Marissa Joyner, and I'm a motion designer. My specialty is making After Effects templates and Premiere Pro Mogurts that I make and sell on different websites. My own website, on Adobe Stock, which is a great place to find some good Mogurts. And yeah, and I live in Austin, Texas, and I basically do templates all the time.
All day, every day. Yeah,
All day, every day.
Seriously, I was taking a peek at some of your websites and you have some really cool ones, and I think I've seen them on stock before. So it's cool to put a face to a template.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, so what are we going to be working on today?
Okay, so today we're going to be making a square animated GIF in Premiere Pro. We're only going to animate just 2 seconds, because when you put it inside of Instagram stories, which I'm going to show you how to do that a little later, then you can just like have it on your phone and paste it into Instagram stories. And because it's a GIF, it will just automatically loop. So we're going to show you how to animate that in Premiere. And I'll show you really quick what we're going to be making. Really simple animation. It's not anything crazy. So yeah, we want to get started.
Yeah, definitely. And chat, if you want to follow along with Marissa, you can click the link in the chat to follow the actual tutorial that's already been written. And there are some assets that you can download. So Marissa's done a lot of the work for you already.
Yes. So we're going to start with a new sequence. So in Premiere Pro, you're going to go to File and then New and select Sequence. And the preset that shows up is a RE 1080p 29.97. That is fine. We don't need to mess with frame rates right now. If you click over to Settings, you do want to change the frame size. The default is usually like HD, like 1920 by 1080, and we're just going to change it to 1080 by 1080. So we're just making the window a square that we're going to work in. We're going to name it. Oops. I can't type when I do this stuff. Okay, then you are ready to go. So in Premiere Pro, if you don't already have the graphics workspace selected, you can go to Window, select Workspaces, and then go to Graphics. And that will bring up all of the panels that you need in order to focus more on graphics. So you can see there's other panels, other workspaces where if you're focusing on one thing or another, Premiere Pro already has those where you can just select it and it brings them all up for you. If you don't have Essential Graphics open, you can just go to Window and select Essential Graphics.
Perfect.
And that's our panel over here on my right. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is create a background. And we're just going to create a solid purple background. The way we do that is go to the tools, and usually by default it's like the pen tool, but we have the rectangle tool selected here. You're just going to click and drag in the program monitor to create your layer. You want to make sure that it's covering the whole black background here. You don't want to have any gaps.
Cool. So the program monitor is kind of like your canvas.
Exactly, exactly. All right. So let's see here. We're going to name our layers because that's what good boys and girls do. Right
Good
there.
call.
All right. And then next, we're just going to create a text layer. So what we're going to do is design, we're going to put all the elements on the screen, and then we're going to animate them. So we won't animate until everything is exactly where we want it on the screen. And that's usually how most motion graphics go. You want to click on the type tool and then click inside the program monitor, and you can type, we're just going to use your name. You can type your actual name.
Yes.
That would be preferred.
Mm-hmm.
And then I want this to be center aligned. And then if you look at the align and transform tools here in Essential Graphics, you can click on this little button called horizontal center. And that just helps you just keep everything aligned. And you might recognize some of those tools from other Adobe programs.
That's what I was just thinking.
Yeah, there's a lot of that going on here. So for the, let's see. So for the appearance, I just have a stroke outline with this aqua color, and then I have a shadow that's just like a hard shadow. It's not transparent or anything. And you can find all of those settings in the blog posts. We're going to kind of try to move fast here.
Cool.
Okay, and then I also have the library open over here on the left. And that's good to have open because I have a color theme that I used, but you can create your own. And then when you're creating your graphics, you can just use the color picker to pick whatever color you like. So moving on, we're going to import an image file. We're just going to use a placeholder in this instance, but you can use like a JPEG or a PNG of like your logo or any kind of branding thing that you use in social media. So we're going to click on the new layer button and then select from file. And then I have my placeholder here. I'm going to click import.
Nice.
There we go. So what we're going to do with the placeholder is put it inside of a group. And you might recognize groups from Illustrator or Photoshop. And what we're going to do is animate the group so that when you replace the image, or if you even wanted to replace the image with something else, you don't have to redo those keyframes on that layer. It will already be in the group. So all you do is just drag it into the group, and then you don't have to redo anything. Cool. So with the layer selected, click on the button that says create group. It looks like a little folder here. And I'm just going to name this image position. Okay, then with the group selected, we're going to move it up above the name. Then I'm going to select the actual placeholder layer, and I'm going to make that a little smaller. So I don't want it to be overwhelming. All right, and then the last thing we're going to do, and this is optional, is you can click on the text or the type tool, and then we're going to, I got to make that text a little smaller so we can see it. Type our hashtag for Max. Hashtag Max Creative Challenge. And I'm not sure if I even spelled that right because I can't see what I'm doing. Okay.
We'll see.
We'll see. Fingers crossed.
Oh, yes. There you go.
Can't believe I did that. Okay.
You pass.
Pass. All right. So we want to center the text here as well. So click the center alignment, and then you can click on the alignment here to center this on the screen. I'm going to change this font to bold. I just don't want it to be as big as the other one as the name text. And then I'm going to uncheck on the stroke and background and just select, the shadow, but I do want a background. And I love this button. I wish that they had this in After Effects where I spend most of my time. And all the background does is just literally just creates like a solid background. So it looks like your text is inside of a box when it isn't. So we're going to set the margin to 17 and then the opacity to 100. So I think we're ready to
Cool.
animate. We have all the elements we need. So let's go over to the sequence, and you can see this clip is so tiny. We're going to have to zoom in here, and it's that bottom scroll bar, and we're just going to drag it over to the left. We're going to get up in there. And all we need to do is to trim this clip to 2 seconds. And what you can do is just click and drag at the end of that clip to 2 seconds.
Perfect.
And then you're ready. So where you animate layers, where you animate your graphics or even videos, you're going to go to the Effect Controls panel. And I have that already open here. And if you don't have that open, it's, of course, Window, Effect Controls. So as you can see, there's several things going on here. And under there's a big kind of the top little bit of text says graphics. And this is where we're going to focus on our layers. So the first thing we're going to do is to animate the image position group. And we're going to animate the rotation and the scale. So as it rotates, it kind of gets a little bit bigger. Then when it rotates back to its first position, it's going to get smaller. And we're just going to, I'm going to show you how to just repeat that, just a couple of frames. But it's important that the first frame and the last frame match for this rotation and for the scale in order for the loop to look smooth and seamless. So we're going to go to the image group position layer, twirl that open, and then you're going to click on the stopwatch next to the rotation property to toggle on the animation. So I'm going to click that. And then we're going to change the value of that rotation to -3. Then we're going to move the playhead over to the right at about 12 frames. And you can see where you are in the program monitor. At the bottom left, there's these blue numbers, and that will show you your playhead position. So it's important to kind of check that every once in a while. And then because we already have animation turned on, if we just change this keyframe or change this rotation value to just 3, it automatically creates a keyframe for us.
Cool.
So what we're going to do is click and drag to select these keyframes. And then you're going to right click and select Bezier. And what that does is just smooths out the animation. I won't get too far into that, but Premiere Pro has some pretty nice timing and easing presets that you can select from, and you don't have to get super deep into the timing, but it just helps it to look a little more natural.
Cool. It's like an easy ease from After Effects.
Exactly. So we're gonna click and drag to select those keyframes, or you can just click on the rotation text here and it will automatically select those keyframes. Then we're going to copy, so Command or Control C, and then we're going to move over to about 23 and then paste it. And then these are not where they're exactly going to be. I'm going to show you in a second. So like we said before, the first frame and the last frame need to match. So we're going to copy the first keyframe. Then we're going to paste it at the end here. All right, then we're just going to, what's happening in the middle is not super important. We're just going to kind of like spread these out. Just you can eyeball it. Look at the pacing here. I think that is good enough.
Cool.
Right there. Okay. So we're going to use the timing of these keyframes to match the scale. So we don't have to redo any of the timing here. So if you go to the scale property and click inside of the value and type 95, and then make sure that you toggle on the animation, then we're going to move over to the next keyframe that we already have kind of mapped out on the rotation value, and then change that value on the scale property to 105. So it's going to be really subtle, like kind of bouncy kind of thing.
Cool.
So select those keyframes. And again, we're going to select Bezier. We're going to be doing this a bunch because the linear default keyframes, they're not super fun to look at.
Very jilted. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to copy those keyframes. Again, you're going to paste and then try to line them up best you can. And then copy that first keyframe again and paste it right at the end. All right, and if we play this back, you can see that we have that placeholder scaling up and kind of moving at the same time, rotating and scaling. Okay, how are we doing on time? Oh, we gotta hurry.
You got this.
Okay, so we're gonna animate the name layer next. And the first thing we're gonna do is put this inside a group as well. And then we're going to animate the group position moving up. So that way, whenever you change the text or you want to type someone else's name and you want to move it around the screen, you don't have to redo the animation. So I'm going to name this name position. And then we will move over to about 12 frames and then toggle on the position property for the animation, because it's already exactly where we want it, right? Mm-hmm. So we're just going to add a keyframe there. Then we're going to move the playhead back to 0. And then we're going to just move this down. Okay. Then on the actual name position, the actual name layer. So they're kind of like grouped inside of the group. So here's the group, and then here's the actual text layer.
I see.
We're going to go all the way down to the opacity. We're going to toggle on the opacity animation and then change that value to 0. Then we're going to move up probably about halfway. Change that to 100.
Cool.
Okay. And then for the position, we're going to select the keyframes, right click, and this time we're going to select temporal interpolation and then ease in. And all this does is just kind of slows it down as it's coming up. So it's really subtle, but I promise you it's better than the default.
Yeah, right. It says little details that matter so much in motion. That's
true. So I'm going to select the name position layer. I just want to move it up just a little bit. I know I'm being picky here. And then the last thing we need to animate is the text at the bottom. And we want that to scale up after the name comes up. So right about 13 frames, we're going to go to that text layer in Essential Graphics. Click on the scale property, set that to 0, and then move up to about 23 frames and change that to 100. I can get it there. Whoop, that's too much. 100. And then again, right click, select Bezier this time. Okay, so as you can see, it's really subtle, but it's animating from the bottom. And I don't want that. I'm going to change that anchor point to the center. So we play it back. There we go. Okay, so now we're ready to preview this in its entirety. So we're going to go back to the sequence. And then here in the program monitor, if you click this little tiny wrench, those are your settings for playback. We want to select loop because we want to hit the space bar and see this loop over and over again.
Awesome. Look at that animation you just did so quickly.
That's all we needed to do.
Wow.
Okay. So the next thing we want to do now is export because we are done. So if we go to the File menu, go to Export, whoop, come back, Export Media. And don't let this scare you. You only need to worry about like 2 things here. So in the export settings, the format needs to be set to animated GIF. And in Premiere Pro, you don't have a lot of options for GIFs like you do in maybe Photoshop or something. Like you can't export a transparent background. If you attempt that, it will just be like a black background. So that's why we created this pretty purple color in the back. So it will be covering the whole background. Anyway, so click on the output name, this little blue text here, and you can put that wherever you want, save it, and now click export. and it should not take very long, a couple seconds.
Awesome.
And now, give me a minute. Okay, so now we're going to get this on your phone. And the way that you do that is going to depend on what kind of system you have. But generally speaking, you can probably like email it to yourself or use a cloud storage like Dropbox or Google Drive or something. And I believe with most phones, you can just plug them into your computer and use it as like a hard drive and drag your file over. The way I'm going to do it is using AirDrop because I'm on a Mac. So I'm going to go to my GIF, right click, go to share, and then click on AirDrop. And here, I'm going to get my phone ready. Okay. Okay, and you do have to have Wi-Fi on, and I don't for this live stream, but normally your little phone icon will pop up here and you click on it and it sends it to you.
Cool.
So that's that.
And now we'll pop over to your phone.
And now let's pop over to my phone.
Sweet.
Okay. Oh, I gotta click share. I keep forgetting to do that. Okay. There it is.
Wow.
Okay, so here I am in Instagram stories. I'm going to create a story with this super cool astronaut guy.
Just casual footage you have on your phone.
It's fine, just a Friday night, you know? I wish. And so this is just a piece of stock footage that I'm using. And so once you get your video or your image that you want to share to stories or whatever, you can just swipe over to my photos. And then once you have your GIF into your Photos app, either like the Photos app on a Mac or iPhone or the gallery on Android, you just hard press and then click copy. Then swipe back over to Instagram stories and you'll see this little sticker, add sticker. Tap on that and now it's there. So now this is just like any other sticker or any other sticker, you can just move it around, rotate it, blah, blah, blah. Great. And if you happen to miss that little sticker pop-up, you can always click on the text tool and then press and click paste. And all it does is just copy it to your clipboard, I guess, and then you can just paste it in here.
That's amazing.
So you can do that multiple times.
Oh,
and then you can share with the world.
There you go.
That's it.
Wow, I think this is a workflow that so many people have no idea that they can do. Like, you think that you have to get all your GIFs from Giphy or from within Instagram, but you can make your own.
That's right. That's right.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
The chat is very enthralled in saying that this is so much information. So chat, if you missed anything, you can always rewatch the stream. No, don't be sorry. It's a good thing. You can always rewatch here or chat. There is a written blog post that has animations and steps. So you can also download the assets if you want to get started. But Marissa, thank you so much for being here. Is there a place on the web that people can find you after the stream?
Yeah. I'm all over the place, but I have a website, fluxvfx.com. I'm on the Instagram, I'm on the Twitter, the YouTube is fun. It's fun there.
And maybe live streaming soon, perhaps?
Yes, let's give it a try.
Okay, cool. So everybody go follow Marissa wherever you can find her. We will be back in just a couple minutes with more Max, so stick around and make sure if you do post this challenge on social like Twitter or Instagram, use that hashtag Max Creative Challenge for the possibility to win. So thanks, Marissa. We will be back in a couple minutes and thanks for being here.
Yes, thank you guys.
Bye, everybody.